Broads Media.
Yo, real quick, March 28th, Coffee with Broads returns. That's right. March 28th, that's opening day, Thursday. Can't wait. Phillies baseball. Ew, it's going to be electric. Here's how you join. Down below in the description, you can join the Broads Media YouTube membership program for $4.99 a month. You will have access to Coffee with Broads live streams starting March 28th every Monday and Thursday morning at 11 a.m. So we'll just kick back, we'll chill, we'll talk in the chat. It'll be super laid back, and I can't wait to hang out with you all. And there's also a Discord channel that you can be a part of where we talk all day long, communicate live, MLB The Show, wrestling, Flyers game, Sixers game. We honestly just shoot the shit. Super fun, and you can join that as well. Excuse me. Jeez. What? Anyway, sign up down below. Join the YouTube membership here. I appreciate it so much, and enjoy the show. What a week, man. What a week for one Howie Roseman. And for us, Eagles fans who finished off the year in a mindset that we've never been through before. We've never experienced that end of a season ever. And now we're in a position where we are dissecting the first week of the free agency period. And I'm recording this Friday morning. So, hey, maybe something even happens throughout Friday afternoon and Friday evening. We still have Saturday. My point is, the first week, we got hit with Bryce Huff, Saquon Barkley, CJ Gardner Johnson, Devontae Parker, say what you will about it, but Devontae Parker, we've been screaming that we need an upgrade from Quez Watkins forever now. I don't know if that's the answer or not, but it's a splashy name. And now add Devin White to the mix. That's absurd. So thank you, Howie, because I didn't know what it would take to get me out of that funk because it was very uncomfortable. I was nauseous 24/7, and I thought I was going to pop a billion blood vessels. I was sick and tired of screaming in anger. I didn't want to do it anymore, but I was so pissed. I mean, it was gross. So how do you get us out of that situation emotionally? Well, you have a week of free agency like Howie just did. Amazing. I like the Devin White move. Of course, it comes with some negativity. Well, he got benched by Tampa Bay. Well, he's not the same player he was back in the early stages of his career when he was drafted super high, won a Super Bowl, Tom Brady. Okay, here you go. Listen to me right now. Nicholas Morrow, a guy the Eagles didn't even want. They made it very clear, we don't even want you. They were so desperate at the position that Nicholas Morrow wore the green dot on his helmet. Do you know the importance of a green dot on the helmet throughout an NFL game? Nicholas Morrow was the one in that position. Devin White is a pro. He's coming off of a dip, no doubt about it. But he is an incredible linebacker when he plays well. And I don't think that he's just terrible now. I just don't. I don't. Especially in a position where the bar's not set very high. All right? I mean, we watched Nate Gary. We've watched Alex Singleton play every snap. I mean, it's gross what we've been put through. And that doesn't mean you just have to throw a parade for someone that's not incompetent, right? I mean, the bar isn't go get someone who's not incompetent. It's go get somebody good. But Devin White is good. Devin White is a pro's pro linebacker. And I'm sure you're sick and tired of hearing me say this too. But man, is it important to bring in a leader of a defense. You lose Fletcher Cox. You lose Jason Kelce. I can't overstate it enough how important some of these personalities are and some of these pros are when you lose something so massive in that locker room. So Saquon adds even more. And now you also have Devin White. You can blitz with him for sure. It'll be interesting to see what Vic Fangio does. And once again, it now starts to go to the coordinator positions because Well, Kellen Moore has to incorporate Saquon Barkley enough for that price tag to be worth it. I can't see Kenneth Gainwell in 2-minute offenses. It has to be give the ball to Saquon, let the man feast, let the guy go to work, let him see how special it is to play behind an offensive line that actually knows how to maul people to death. Not just be good, how to kick people in the testicles and kick them down forever. That's what this O-line does. Let him experience that because he's been waiting for it for 6 seasons up in New York. The guy has been crying to the football gods on both hands and knees, saying, please, please, please let me play for the Eagles. I need to see what it's like to win. So, I don't want to get stuck in this garbage stupid-ass city of New York football Giants fans that don't know don't know anything. I need an offensive line. I need Howie Roseman. He finally got that. So let's reward him for wanting it so bad for so many years and then finally getting it, right? Devin White, same thing. He has a skill set. Yeah, there might be some things that are rough around the edges. He's not a perfect player. I think the way that I saw it described out there, and I kind of like it, I think it fits perfectly, is maybe once in a while, maybe more than once in a while, there's times where he doesn't like to do the dirty work, okay? Like maybe he misses out on doing that extra little dirty work here and there, but there's so many other things that he brings to the table where you live with that little deficiency for the excellence. And you got to apply pressure with him. You got to utilize him properly based off of his skill set. And it's on Vic Fangio now, just like it's on Kellen Moore to do so and get him going sideline to sideline, of course. And he's been a part of some good statistical defenses. So over the year, whether it's a top 10 defense, and Todd Bowles is a very respectful defensive mind. So look, that can go against him, too, because if Todd Bowles feels that at the back end of a season last year, when you're in the playoffs and you're making a postseason push and you guys are doing well, and he removes Devin White from the equation a little bit, then, well, Todd Bowles knows a lot about football, and you say, well, there's a reason why. And, yeah, I mean, look, people have bad years, come back, have a little dip, return, new city, new life, new sense of urgency, the buzz surrounding this team and how everybody's juiced up for a season. That could also inspire. It's that knowing how much we've been crying for a linebacker and stepping into that with a purpose could also help out tremendously. But yeah, Todd Bowles has given him a ton of snaps. He's played a lot of snaps, not missing a bunch of games. That's important. He's able to stay upright on the field. We desperately need that, especially, at that position, because once one guy goes down, you're already thin as it is over the years, where once you lost one guy, dude, like Ben Van Sumeren, or is it Van Summeren? I watch this team every day. I study up everything. I don't even know how to pronounce the guy's last name properly. And that's one of your legitimate options at linebacker if someone goes down. Ben Van Sumeren. And yeah, actually, fun little story. Stop it, Ben Van Sumeren. I mean, seriously, what are we doing here? So I'm happy, man. I'm happy. I like the move. I think it's great. We'll see some of the breakdowns of the contracts because it's hard to react to the money side of it. CJ Gardner Johnson's deal, it's like 3 years, $33 million. Yeah, but what is it really, right? Because Saquon Barkley, well, the initial contract was, yeah, but what is it really? Howie does his thing, so we just kind of have to wait and see. But I'm excited. Like, you can't ask for anything more than this. If the tampering period started, or if it was the day before, and I said, listen to me right now. You're going to get Huff. You're going to get Barkley. You're going to get C.J. Gardner Johnson. You're going to get Devontae Parker and Devin White. You're going to sign Landon Dickerson to an extension, so you're going to make sure your left side of your line's going to stay intact, and that's what we're going to roll forward with before the draft even begins. It's not over. You still got plenty of time to add talent. I'm seriously convinced that they're going to draft a cornerback in the first round, which blows my damn mind. But I truly am convinced that it's the case. I don't know if they're going to stay where they are. Howie's always picking up the phone. I don't know if they shoot up and they try and move up into the draft to snag somebody. I don't know what they do. But the point is that this is all done prior to even getting to some sexy draft picks to add some youth to this team as well. That's crazy. That's crazy. You can't ask for anything more than this. Wow. Here's another part to the Devin White experience, too. I'm not sold on Nakobe Dean, but it has nothing to do with Nakobe Dean, the person. I think I told this story before, but I had a chance to interview him, and man, that kid just seems like a polished dude. Like, I walked away from that interview going, damn, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Just some of his answers, what he was doing outside of football, how he was, just focusing on his craft. Like, I was like, wow, kid gets it. I liked it a lot. Working with a Devin White, I think can maybe help Nakobe Dean reach a level where without Devin White, I don't know if it's the same. For example, and I'm just throwing out names, but if Nate Gerry was next to a Nakobe Dean, I don't think Nakobe Dean can do research with Nate Gerry to really learn. I don't think when you're watching film with Nate Gerry or Nicholas Morrow, you ask the same questions. You get the same information from them. Devin White's a real pro. And he's not old. He's not 30. 26 years old. 26. That's why this whole, he broke down. Maybe he was dealing with something. Maybe there was a lingering issue and his knee wasn't right. There was something bothering him with his foot, an ankle. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't healthy. And that was causing him to not play 100%, which then made Todd Bowles go, dude, you don't have it right now. You don't have it right now. So I got to do what's best for my squad right now. Then he gets an off season to recover, go through some PT. I'm sure he was banged up. Listen, you make it to the end of the regular season. You're making the playoffs. Maybe he wasn't 100%. Or maybe it wasn't that. He just had a down season. But first off, I'll take the risk. We're going to act like now it's a bad calculated risk to take somebody with a ceiling like that at the linebacker position. It's all calculated risks, people. All of it. No matter what decision you make. Paying Jalen Hurts, calculated risk. Giving Landon Dickerson an extension, calculated risk. Going with Lane Johnson still at this age with someone who, has an injury here, has the ankle, has a problem with something going on in his core. It's a calculated risk. It's a good calculated risk. It's a damn good calculated risk. But there's calculated risks in all of this. Trading for A.J. Brown was a calculated risk. Devontae Smith, super skinny. Will he stay upright? He's going to take a bunch of tackles. What happens when someone clocks him pretty good and he gets clobbered? Can he take that type of beating? Calculated risk. It was a good calculated risk. But my point is, no matter what play, Darius Slay, where he was at in his career with the Detroit Lions, would it be worth it to go get that type of corner? It was worth it. It was worth it. Calculated risk. So, bringing back C.J. Gardner Johnson, calculated risk. That's fine. And so was Devin White. But I think it's okay. First off, if it doesn't work, we'll give you that. If it doesn't work, let's work with this for a little bit. So what? So what? You're not murdered for the rest of time here for some disgusting contract. And we've seen poor linebacker play as it is. So, all right, then it's prototypical Eagles at this point. And then, of course, I'm going to get on Howie's ass and say, do something about it. All right? I don't just accept it. Your job as a general manager is to put the best roster together, and if something doesn't work, then you have to think on your toes. Then you have to get creative. You have to set yourself up, and that's what they do well with the offensive line. Hey, if this guy goes down, we could slide in a Jack Driscoll. If this guy goes down, we could slide into this guy. Hey, we have Cam Jurgens waiting. If this guy gets hurt, here's Cam Jurgens. They think ahead. They properly plan accordingly. If this happens, we have this. They did it last year with those young corners. And, if someone gets injured, we have Josh Jobe, Ringo, and Eli Ricks. And I didn't like all those options, but in their mind, it was good enough. I hold you accountable. Not good enough for me. Therefore, you need to do better. But the forward thinking is, okay, if White doesn't pan out, what do we do? Well, you better find that answer. But if it doesn't work out, it's a fine risk to take with the super high upside that I haven't seen in I don't know how long. So can we be excited, please? I beg of you. Okay, let's run to some phone calls on the phone lines, shall we? Let's do it.
Yo, bros. It's Thomas here. Second-time caller, long-time listener. Howie Roseman does it again, baby.
Yes, he does.
Saquon, Bryce Huff, brought back Chauncey, and now Devin White at linebacker, bro. It's crazy, man. All we got to do is now trade for a cornerback, and we're fucking set. Go Birds.
When you say that, are you talking about a backup quarterback or are you taking shots at Jalen? I think he's talking about a backup quarterback. And when you say trade for one, does that mean you're specifically bringing in Justin Fields? I don't want to speak for you. So maybe you can call back into the Anytime hotline and give your answer and give us some feedback here. But it sounded to me like more along the lines of trade for a backup. And if you say trade for a backup, there's one guy to come to mind, and that would be one Justin Fields, which if you didn't take a listen yet, you can go take a listen to my podcast that I uploaded yesterday. And by the way, Sports Talk with Broads is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and all your podcasting platforms. If you want to leave a little 5-star rating and a review, that would mean the absolute world to me. But you know what's funny? You bring up Bryce Huff, and the poor guy, this poor guy hasn't been talked about at all. He's got double-digit sacks on like 40% of snaps. The kid can play. He's got a hell of a story. It's not like he's a number one draft pick, high-ass draft pick that everybody had on their monitor. This kid's story is unbelievable. And, I guess because we're so accustomed to seeing awesome defensive end play, and that's something that this organization values more than most. So when we get it, it's like, okay, yeah, you're just another one of those. I don't know. Maybe we just need to get to learn about him, and get to know him a little more, and get to see some of his personality before we get to discuss him at a different rate. I don't know. That's my point. Is Bryce? Think about what Howie's done. Think about it. He's done so much that Bryce Huff is sort of like, okay, now what? Bryce Huff. What else though? Oh, Barkley. Oh, Devin White. Oh, C.J. Gardner Johnson. You got a linebacker, a safety, maybe the second best running back in the entire league, and a damn good linebacker over the last few years with a little bit of a dip. Okay, a little bit of a dip, but a damn good linebacker for a long time in this league, a champion and a leader. Wow. Now, the Bryce Huff stuff still has the door open for what do they do with Josh Sweat, or what do they do with Hassan Reddick. And I had Jeff Mosher of Inside the Birds join me on WIP Wednesday night. And, he said, look, if it goes between one of the two, it does seem like Josh Sweat is more out the door than Hassan Reddick. And I'm curious to see what compensation back in return would be for him. And I like Josh Sweat. Don't get me wrong. I think he's an intriguing player. But you can move on from him if the value is right. And that's a big part of this, if the value is right. But keep in mind, Hassan wants money. Josh Sweat is going to be getting paid. It's not too far away here. So if you project both of them and giving Huff money, is that something that you could fit? I don't know. That's on Howie Roseman to decide. And if he decides it's something that he can't fit, well, then it really must be a number crunch, because he can make a lot work. So if he feels he can't make it work, I got to trust him here. And I like Josh Sweat. I do. but it's not a make or break decision. Hassan Reddick's ceiling is significantly higher. He's significantly more of an impact player. See, I think Hassan Reddick creates for other people. Josh Sweat, for me, is someone that can take advantage of others being great. Does that make sense? Where Javon Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, they're so important. Josh Sweat can get off. Hassan Reddick, other guy, Josh Sweat can make some splashes because of the impact of Hassan Reddick. Could someone else be insanely successful because of what Josh Sweat does? Are others so focused on Josh Sweat that now it opens up some of the other opportunities for other edge rushers or something along those lines? I don't know. I don't see it that way. And he's a good player. He's a starter in this league. He's a good player. He has an upside for sure, but if you can get value back in return for that, then I'd be silly not to do it, especially if you know that you can continue at that position. I'm not afraid. It's not like the Eagles are getting rid of hypothetically speaking, let's say they get a linebacker who's great and he's equivalent to Josh Sweat, and then they move off of him because they can get good value. But they never get good linebackers. Well, then I'd be pissed. But they can get defensive edge rushers. They can get edge rushers everywhere. They do. They do a lot of the time. So it's a position where I can have full faith that they can apply someone there who can do what Josh Sweat does. Even if what Josh Sweat does is very talented, which it is. But they find a lot of talent there, and they do a lot of great things in that department. So that's sort of my breakdown and assessment on that. Okay, let's go to the next call.
Hey, bros, what's up? Everybody hating on this Saquon signing, I think, is crazy. I think this kid's going to change the entire dynamic of our offense.
Sure is.
This kid can receive. This kid can rush. This kid can do everything. I think a lot of people were looking at DeAndre Swift as somebody that was close to Saquon's talent, and I think that's ridiculous. I really think Saquon, behind a good offensive line and on a great team, can do some crazy stuff just like Christian McCaffrey's doing in San Francisco. Thanks for listening, man.
Well, thanks for calling. So I believe that Christian McCaffrey is above Saquon Barkley, but if you're looking at it strictly from how did the 49ers improve from his availability, his presence in that locker room and on the field, he was a walking touchdown. You knew every game that you could bet on a Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown, and it's going to hit. He was sensational. He transformed what that offense could be. Saquon Barkley is closer to that than DeAndre Swift. Now, DeAndre Swift's a damn good back, and I don't even know if he had the opportunity, which is crazy because the numbers are pretty remarkable, but I don't think he had the opportunity to thrive as much as he could have. Really, I thought there was even another step. Forget the numbers. We watched the games, right? The number says something, but I don't think the numbers tell you how problematic that offense was in general and in totality. So, I thought DeAndre Swift could have even done more, which is a credit to him. And also telling you that McCaffrey and Barkley being in a different tier tells you what I think. If you have an offense that makes sense and maximizes what Saquon can do, how much of an impact he truly can make. The dude's a weapon. I mean, he's a machine. He really is. And he's never had the opportunity to play with this type of talent. Is anybody angry that he said thank you to Giants fans, by the way? I see some fans say, really? You had to put out a thank you to the Giants fans? You're one of us now. Come on, man. That's why I give him the respect of the type of dude he is and how we lost a lot of those type of dudes. We need that. Okay, it's not the same, but work with me here. If Jason Kelce or if Fletcher Cox, because there was almost a time where Fletch or BG played in a different uniform, right? If there was a time where they did, and then they released a statement on Twitter saying, thank you, Eagles fans. I love you to death. It's a business. I feel I got a couple years left. It didn't work out there after 6-7 years, but I love you like no other. We'd love it if we were on the receiving end of it, right? That's the type of A-plus quality human beings they are. BG would do that. Fletch would do that. Any of these guys would do that. Thank you. Thank you. I love you guys to death, but hey, it's a business. It's time to go to work. Can't wait to see you 2 times a year, right? Maybe throw a little funny jab at the end or not, because that's the type of guy they are. Maybe I would take the jab. They didn't. Barkley's that type of dude. that personality trait, that respect goes a long way. And you're going to get sick and tired of me talking about it, but it's extremely important. And by the way, screw you, James Franklin. Ha! What a dope! Speak about respect. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. What are you doing? Come on, dude. The hell's the matter with you? You know how this stuff works. Shut up. Shut up. Jesus. What's next?
Bros, CJ Gardner Johnson is back, and I love it. I definitely had some choice words to say about him in the past, but if you take away the name CJ Gardner Johnson and you told an Eagles fan that Howie would be signing a starting caliber safety / nickel for 3 years, $33 million, I think everyone would sign up for that. Makes plays in position. Love it. Now, I did want to mention on this call, I wanted to ask you about the report that said that Kellen Moore specifically wanted the Eagles to target Saquon Barkley to be able to run his scheme. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts about that because there's layers to that. I think that Kellen Moore wants to run his offense in a very different way than what Brian Johnson ran, and I think he wants to use Devontae Smith primarily in the slot, which, if you don't know this, I have been calling for the Eagles to use Devontae Smith as a slot receiver since he got drafted. I think he can really, really, really become a superstar if he's able to be in the slot, be in the middle of the field, does his excellent route running. And they signed Devontae Parker, and I know and Devontae Parker is not very good anymore, but is an established X, so that's one step to I think what Kellen Moore's vision is. Very curious to hear your thoughts on all this.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. A few things. I don't know if that contract of 3 years, $33 million for CJ Gardner Johnson is exactly that. I haven't seen the breakdown yet. I don't think it's been released by anybody, but it's probably not going to be to that extent. They'll be outs at some point for the Eagles and whatnot and all that. So we'll see how it breaks down. But to your Kellen Moore offense point, I have no indication or any sort of knowledge of, hey, he definitely wants to put Devontae Smith in the slot. Part of my conversation when they signed Devontae Parker was you do have the ability to line up different mismatches in the slot because if Devontae Parker does line up outside because he doesn't traditionally line up inside, you do have the ability to maybe put A.J. Brown in there for a mismatch or Devontae Smith in there for a mismatch. But in regards to, I'm not going to say obsession, but it does seem like you just want to stick Devontae in the slot all the time. I don't know if you'd be maximizing what he can do if that's the case. Devontae's great that I feel confident wherever you put him, he can succeed, and there's no doubt about it. But, I mean, there is a ton of value in doing more than just lining up in the slot. I'm sure that some of you guys are envisioning what a CD Lamb does and how he's able to just put up insane numbers with the Cowboys, and you look at that as obviously a matchup advantage, and I understand, I do. CD Lamb is a football fun watch. I don't like it because he's a Cowboy, but in regards to what he does, he's a very talented player and whatnot. But I don't want to just stick Devontae Smith in the slot, and that's what we do with him. I want to have him be great everywhere. I want him to be able to get downfield and also play outside. I want him to do it all because he's a great, 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 great receiver with a fantastic skill set. So I don't know. That just sounded like it was like I want to apply him to this role and just let him do that. If that's the case, you're limiting his skill set because he can do way more for you, right? I mean, I'm big right now on maximizing what everybody can do well. That's like saying, hey, Saquon Barkley is good at running. Yeah, sure, he can catch the ball a little bit, but he's really good at running, so we're just going to run him nonstop. We're not going to utilize him in the pass game that much as a running back. We'll just keep running him because he's great in that area and can do well. Yeah, but he can also do other things, and he can expose other areas too, and there's value in that as well. So that would be my answer to it in general. But I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me tonight. I really do. Thank you all so much. I appreciate it. And what a first week of free agency, for real. Appreciate you all, and I'll be talking to you very, very soon.